But as part of the finances thing, do you have opinions on when one should take Social Security? I'm actually going through that at the moment. Shall I take it at 63? Should I take it at 65? What should I do about this?
I think the best advice is to think about how long you think you might live based on...
That's the trouble. You see, every day I feel is a day I make a pact with the devil. If I only have 3 pints today, I might live another 18 years. If I only have 2 pints, I might live 20. Now, let me see. 2 years or another pint today. So, but the equation alters every day, almost every hour, and that's anyway. I didn't mean to stray there. I did. I also wanted to talk about sensible planning, about wills and living wills and that sort of thing, because this retirement thing, when you get into it, I mean, you are looking towards the end also.
Well, I think the biggest thing about retirement is that we pretend we're going to live forever, as you said earlier. And so you don't want to talk about those final things. You don't want to talk about wills. You don't want to talk about frailty. You don't want to talk about illness or anything like that. But absolutely, people need to have wills. And whether you're married, living together, single, you have to think about what you're going to do or who's going to get what you have. Even if it's not very much, it's a value to someone. And you don't want the state to have it.
No.
That's the biggest problem. I mean, I talk about a woman in the book who's a single woman who travels to very dangerous and exotic places all the time. And she has made plans for her funeral. And she says, I know who I want to cook what and what there's somebody supposed to bring and everything. And I said, well, who knows that? She says, oh, well, my executor knows that. And I said, who knows who your executor is? Well, and it becomes very problematic because she could die on Mount Everest and nobody would know what kind of funeral she wants. So you have to make it very clear to people in your family, to friends, what your plans are, where you keep things. I mean, who knows where your will is? Do your children know where the key is to the safety deposit box? Do they know who your lawyer is, what your insurance policies are? So people have been very kind of reluctant to share anything financial, but this is not really financial. This is personal. Right. And you don't have to tell anybody how much money is in there or even who you're going to leave it to, right. But you have to let somebody know where they can find these papers.
Yeah. So we do have to get sensible, because one of the things when we get into recreation here, I like the fact that you start life playing and you can end life playing. I like the thought of that, except before we get to play, we need to be really sensible and write everything down, right?
Well, I think that is the way to make it happen. Otherwise, it's just up to whoever's around, and somebody else can say, well, she didn't really mean to leave that to her niece. I think she wanted me to have it, and
that $8 billion to the dog is not going to work, yeah.
Well, it worked for a few minutes, didn't it?
I wonder if the dog enjoyed it for a few minutes. We're talking about Leona Helmsley. Of course, once you get to this stage, health, of course, is a major subject. Do you have advice for us, how we should look after ourselves?
In terms of housing?
Health.
Oh, well, of course, I don't have to tell you, everybody needs to exercise 30 minutes a day. And, and it keeps you going. And because, your mind isn't going to keep healthy if your body isn't healthy. You start worrying and obsessing. And in fact, there's so many people now that are talking about how you have to keep your mind healthy and work out your brain with brain games and things like that. But health is the most important thing. And it's the one thing people don't think about when they're feeling fine.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it comes on, oh, my God, what did I do before and why didn't I prevent this? So people have to think about this. And you mentioned Social Security. There are some doctors who won't take Medicare. There's a whole county, Santa Cruz County, where there isn't a single doctor in the county who will take Medicare. So people have to know about supplemental insurance. They have to find a doctor before they're 65 and make plans like that, even though you don't want to.
And this also might predicate on where you would like, the actual place you would like to retire to. Maybe you're going to retire to somewhere different. People often move to much warmer places when they retire. Is that a big trend?
It's not as big as it was because people are so active. It was one thing when you wanted to kind of lay around and have a more leisure life, but now people are moving to retirement communities in New Jersey, for God's sake, and because people want to be near the excitement of a city, or they're still working and they want to be able to commute. So there is no one answer for everyone. I know I've heard of people who move to Panama and Costa Rica. They like those places because the dollar goes a long way. There's good medical care and there are good airports.
That sounds fantastic. I'm going for that. And of course, it used to be that families all lived in the same house. No, we all live completely all over. Does it make a decision where your kids are living? Do you want to be closer to your kids? Do you maybe want to escape them?
Well, actually, there are people who have moved across the country to be near their grandchildren. Maybe they feel they didn't give their kids as much time as they should have when they were, mid-career. So they said, well, I'm going to make it up with my grandchildren. They get there, and it's not a place they really want to live. That's the biggest problem. If you're going to move, make sure it's a place that you want to live yourself, because your children could get transferred.
Right. Yeah, it's true. A quick thing about relationships. Love is not just for the young. I read there was a piece on NPR about a young man who went to live in a retirement community in Florida to find out what they did, and he was absolutely shocked. There was so much going on there. And so so making new friends and new lovers is could be easily done.
It can be easily done, and in fact, I know a man who's written a book about how people go about it, and they said the only problem is that dating is not the way it was when you were 20. Yes. So you have different expectations, and you have a different list of what you want, and you keep that in mind.
Right. And a few habits that are ingrained. Well, thank you, Miriam. Your book is such a wonderful resource for anyone approaching retirement or those who are already there. And there really is a whole resource section in the back of the book with every website you might ever need. I loved that part, and I'm going to use some of them. Just keep it in front of the computer. But we should get up from the computer, right? We shouldn't stay there.
No, you can't stay in the house all the time. It's not good for your health. It's not good for that social interaction that you need, and it's not good for the community.
All right. Thank you so much. Miriam Goodman, Reinventing Retirement. Thank you. Okay. We're almost at our mid-break. But first of all, before that, we have the grand tradition from the House of Bagels, San Francisco. We have to throw the bagel. Now, I've done this before in my role as piano player, but first time in the role as host. So, okay, here we go. Whoa, whoa! Ah! Oh, avoid it. Who got the bagel? They get the bagel. They get the bagel. They get the bagel.